Hello from me, Lazarus. We continue with the next lesson of the Lazarus IDE course. We have now reached the 7th lesson, Standard Ribbon Components. It is divided into several parts. We are currently at the 4th point and 4th lesson from it, Components for Grouping Elements. Components for grouping elements. We start with the components first, which are used to group elements, T-panel and T-group-box, and then we'll take a look at the rest. We open the Lazarus IDE with a new empty project and place one component on the shape of type T-panel and T-group-box, and because they are the same color as the shape in general, it is better to color them in a different color. As for the purpose we need to go to the color property, but in my case, I have already colored them, as from the color property I am selected colors from the drop-down list. So my example is for the more extreme version, so we won't watch it yet. Thus, these components are similar. The difference is that for the title at T-panel is located in the middle, and at T-group-box, in the upper left corner. One of the application of these elements is to be placed on them groups of elements. For example, with radio buttons, if we have multiple radio buttons placed on the form, it can let's choose just one of them. And if we want to, for example, to group them into two parts, then we can put on those components, on T-panel, or on T-group-box. Part of them. So here's an example. Let's say we have 6 radio buttons on the form, as follows, then we compile and now we see that it can to select only one radio button. Then we move them apart and we place the first 3 radio buttons on group box 1, and the next 3 radio buttons, on panel as we remove the inscription, the title from the panel. And we see that it already can to select one radio button from each group. It is by these components. We continue with the following components. We extend the form, move the panel under group box 1 and we add to the right the elements. T-radio group and T-check group. So, we put them side by side, we align them, color them in different colors so they stand out. These two elements serve to create group radio buttons and check boxes. They are handled in a similar way. From the properties, select items, and clicking on it we see the following window opens, and in it we need to enter the names and number on radio buttons or check boxes, by writing them on separate lines. When we are ready, click OK. I will enter 5 radio buttons and 4 check boxes. And this is what happens when we compile and run this project, and lastly we will look the TComboBox and TListBox elements. To do this, we delete the radio buttons from the group box and panel, and in their place we will put TComboBox and TListBox. The TComboBox element serves to select from a drop-down list, and the TListBox element serves to select from a list. The introduction of the elements in these lists, it happens again via the items property. In our example, we will enter a few items, but before that, I'll show you how we can delete an element from the form. For this purpose you must select the element by pressing it once with the left mouse button on the shape itself or in the tree view in the object inspector, and then press the delete key, or with the right mouse button, as shown here, click like this and select delete. So, here's what happens with our project and the newly introduced elements, and here I have specially left the lines for alignment to see how actually must be aligned. And this is how you understand that here it is aligned above, by the above element. And on the right along the right element. So, on not the compiled project, I have selected item 2 in the drop-down list and in the list sheet. And in the list sheet I have automatically introduced a scroll bar. More elements than its visible area, to see how in it, when there are more elements, a scroll bar appears on its right side. That's the gist of this thread. In actual use of these items, selecting an item most often associated with some event. We will consider an example of this, in which we will slightly change our program. We open our Lazarus IDE project again. We open the project7.lpi file as we indicated with the right mouse button, and we choose Open With, and choose Lazarus. If everything is fine with the project, need to make a new project, the normal in Lazarus IDE. Basically, this is the way, or by double-clicking on this file, to open an already closed project. Then we press F12 to show us form and click on TComboBox 1, and in the Object Inspector properties we select the second page. Events, we select the onChange event, and here we select TComboBox 1, and then click on the 3 dots and the corresponding procedure is open to us. Write the following code in it. Here it is. Actually we will show you what exactly does this code do. This code does the following. When changing the checkbox in TComboBox 1, a new row is added to ListBox 1 with content the selected row in TComboBox 1. Now let's do it. The reverse interaction, when selecting a field from ListBox 1 to add a new row in TComboBox 1 with content the selected row in ListBox 1. For this purpose, we highlight ListBox 1 and we go to the Events page in the Object Inspector, and we select click there as well. Select ListBox 1, we click on the 3 dots, and in the opened procedure we write the following code. So, we try out the program and we see that it works correctly. Here's to showing it in the Lazarus IDE. For example, we choose from ListBox 1 item 8, we click on it and we see that he has appeared in the TComboBox 1 list. And finally, let me mention one more thing. On the ListBox element there is a choice on many lines, multiple choice. To turn it on, we have to choose from the Object Inspector the multi-select property and check true. It defaults to false. And now, holding down the Control key, we can now highlight multiple lines. That's all we'll cover for these items and everything in this tutorial. Best regards.